My name is Ryan Shekel. I'm Assistant Director for Pre-Professional Health Careers here at Texas Tech University. I'm going to be talking about what it means to be pre. A lot of students who are thinking about career and academic goals that lead to health professions like being a physician or a nurse or pharmacist have questions about how to make this work and how to be most successful in that important step of competitive admissions for professional school. So we're going to go through this agenda in this video, talk about what it means to be pre. We'll talk a little bit about our office, Pre-Professional Health Careers, what we do to help Red Raiders who plan on being healthcare professionals, and then why I think Texas Tech University is a great place for pre-health students. There's a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty about how to be pre and what's the right way to be pre. I've been with Pre-Professional Health Careers since June of 2015. And this presentation, this video, is basically a distillation of what I've learned over the last 5 years. In each one of these areas, there's a difference. I think the big takeaway for what it means to be pre, the big message that I could send to prospective pre-health students is that it's different. I'm going to talk about or compare and contrast the pre-health student experience with the average or typical college student experience. And I don't mean to use the words average or typical in a negative light. I'm not calling people basic. I'm just saying that most college students, when they go to college, the things that they do, the approach that they take to being a college student doesn't result in the type of profile that leads to being a competitive and compelling applicant for health profession schools. So yes, if you are pre-health, if you're thinking about being pre-med or pre-pharmacy or pre-nursing, or any of those pre-health designations, and it feels different, that's because it is different. And we're going to talk through a lot of those different areas and the sort of the characteristics and the ways that things are different. Each one of these 8 topics are ways that being pre-health is different than the typical or average college student. First big difference is the whole thing about major, right? You may have heard people say that pre-med isn't a major, or pre-nursing isn't a major. And what that means is you can't get a degree in pre. Now you can choose to be pre while you decide on your degree, but for each one of our 10 pre-health designations, the question about major is something that our students get to navigate and make very strategic and informed decisions about. For some of our disciplines, the designation associated with it will either require a bachelor's degree. It's recommended that students consider a bachelor's degree along the way, or in some cases, for certain designations that we'll discuss, a parallel plan or a contingency plan major is encouraged just to take some of the pressure off of the competitive admissions process. Here at Texas Tech University, we have 10 pre-health designations, and for 4 of them, a bachelor's degree is required for that next step academically and professionally. For example, if you're thinking about going to physical therapy school, PT schools require a bachelor's degree before you go to PT school. And you can't get an undergraduate degree in physical therapy. So pre-PT students get to decide, what will I complete my undergraduate 4-year bachelor's degree in as I prepare for PT school? Occupational therapy schools, physician assistants, and also in almost all cases medical schools will require a bachelor's degree before that next academic and professional step, and that's a requirement for admissions to those professional schools. So if you're a pre-med, pre-physical therapy, pre-occupational therapy, or pre-physician assistant, you can begin in the pre-designation, but eventually you're going to have to decide on, declare, and complete a bachelor's degree if you're going to be admitted to that next step in your educational journey. Now, for 3 of our disciplines, it's a little bit more complicated. Pharmacy school is probably the best example of this. It's possible to be admitted to pharmacy school, to a pharmacy doctorate program or a PharmD program without a bachelor's degree complete. Most pharmacy schools will have an early admissions model. The Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center School of Pharmacy has a letter of intent model where you can be evaluated for admission to a PharmD program after your first year in college. But your prerequisites will often take you into your 2nd year of undergraduate. And if you're admitted to pharmacy school without your bachelor's degree, off you go. No bachelor's degree, on to pharmacy school. But nationally, the majority of students who went to pharmacy school did so with a bachelor's degree complete. That's not a requirement, but the trend is that most students who go to pharmacy school, most students who go to dental school, and most students who go to optometry school will enter those professional schools with a bachelor's degree complete. So we think of those disciplines as 3+ disciplines. While it's possible for students to be admitted after their second year of prerequisite courses, in most cases you're going to finish a bachelor's degree and then go on to those professional schools. So we recommend that our pre-pharmacy, pre-optometry, and pre-dental students identify and declare a degree granting major. Again, you have time to do that, and you can be in the pre-designations while you decide, but eventually students in those disciplines will most likely complete a bachelor's degree before entering professional school. Finally, we have 3 disciplines that we consider our 2+2 disciplines. These are programs where a bachelor's degree is not required, and the majority of students who enter those professional programs do not complete a bachelor's degree before entering the professional school. The best example of this is pre-nursing. It is, in almost all cases, the experience of pre-nursing students to complete their pre-nursing prerequisite courses in 4 semesters or 2 years, and at the end of their 3rd semester, apply to be admitted to a Bachelor of Science in Nursing program, and then finish their bachelor's degree at a school of nursing, like the one at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center School of Nursing, or others like them. So for pre-nursing students, it's possible to enter the university as pre-nursing, take their prerequisite courses as pre-nursing, apply to nursing schools, and be admitted without ever declaring a degree granting major. And for most, that is their experience. Speech language hearing sciences, if you're interested in becoming a speech language pathologist, an audiologist, or a communications disorder researcher, is also a 2+2 program here at Texas Tech University and the Health Sciences Center. And then there's a program called Clinical Laboratory Science. We refer to it as CLS. That's also a bachelor's degree program where your prerequisites are typically 2 years, and then you apply to complete your bachelor's degree at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center here in Lubbock. CLS can also be a great prep for medical school and PA school, but in the end, each one of these 2+2 disciplines has a structure where competitive admissions is still a part of the reality for those students. And because that's the reality, and because it's possible even for competitive and compelling students in 2+2 programs not to get a yes the first time they apply, knowing what you would do if you didn't get a yes the first application cycle you went through can actually help you take pressure off of being the type of student that you want to be, the type of applicant that you want to be. We see students every semester in our 2+2 disciplines who will say, I don't know what I will do if I don't get a yes the first time I apply. Answering that question isn't giving up on your dreams. It's not settling for second best. It's just recognizing that it's possible. And instead of living with that unresolved anxiety, those pressures and concerns, in addition to being in challenging coursework and developing an application profile for competitive admissions, you can come up with a plan. You can fold it up, put it in your back pocket, and then you can move on and focus on being a competitive and compelling applicant. So for our 10 designations, it's either required to finish a bachelor's degree, it's recommended because most folks will, or it's encouraged to consider the question, what will I major in as I prepare for the competitive admissions process to professional school? And remember, your pre-professional health careers, your PPHC advisors are here to help you every step of the way. Another way that being a pre-health student is different than the typical or average college student is the path to career. If you ask most folks who are researching universities and colleges right now, the main reason they're doing that is because they plan to graduate from high school. And when they graduate, they want to go to a great university so that when they graduate, they can get a good job. And that's what most folks are doing right now. They're thinking about high school, college, and career, and that path. I worked on campus for a long time, and I know that there are a lot of other reasons people go to college than this. But for the most part, people are going to finish a degree or not, and then they're going to enter the marketplace, the job fields out there. And that's what most people who are thinking about college, that's what they're thinking about, is that path. And my first job was working with undecided and undeclared students. So I know it's not always a straight line. But the process from high school to college career is what the average or typical college student is thinking about, working on, considering. But that's not how it works for pre-health students. You don't graduate from high school, go to college, and then become a doctor or a pharmacist, right? Most people understand that. The way that it works in pre-health, the path to career for pre-health students goes high school, college for prerequisite courses and possibly a bachelor's degree in most cases. Then you go through competitive admissions so that you can go to professional school. And after professional school, usually there's some form of licensure, and then you enter the job market. Then you're a working professional in those fields. So pre-health students, their path to career has extra steps. The competitive admissions process, the professional school process, those are things that are different for pre-health students than the typical or average college student. Most college students, the next time they apply for anything is when they apply for their first job. And for a lot of them, that feels like it's forever away from college admissions. But pre-health students need to be thinking about preparing for competitive admissions from the beginning to make sure they're taking the steps and developing the kind of profile that will make them a competitive and compelling applicant for a professional school. So as a pre-health student, your path to career includes additional steps that are different from the average or typical college student. Another way of understanding that is this bar chart. Each one of these bars represents the two-part education model for our pre-health students. It doesn't matter which designation it is, how long it takes to finish the eventual credential, or how long it takes to finish the prerequisite courses, but they all have that preparatory or prerequisite phase represented by the black portion of the bar, and then the red portion is the professional school part. Whether you stay a Red Raider the whole time or not, every pre-health student who is admitted to professional school will have this two-part education. Part you will do here at Texas Tech University, and part you will do at a professional school. And to move from that prerequisite or preparatory phase of your education into the professional phase, everybody has to go through that brass ring of competitive admissions. It doesn't matter which designation or discipline you're thinking about. You will have that two-part education model separated by the competitive admissions process. And as you're preparing for that as a pre-health student, your pre-health advisors and pre-professional health careers at Texas Tech University are focused on making sure that you are as prepared as possible for the competitive admissions process. Because if you're not successful in passing through the competitive admissions process, then you don't go to the professional school, and then you don't eventually enter the career field that you're interested in. So our focus is competitive admissions because that's your next step. Now, as students are thinking about being pre-health at Texas Tech University, sometimes they're wondering, what is the right thing to do? Should I come in as pre, or should I declare a major? And ultimately, that's up to you, right? I know that students who are watching this video aren't certain about anything sometimes. They're just collecting information, and that's fantastic. There are so many folks who will come to campus who haven't asked questions, who haven't checked this out beforehand. And so the fact that you're watching this now and considering these questions makes things a lot easier for you down the road and for us as your advisors. So I'm not going to say that because you're watching this, you're certain about your career path or your major. I'm not going to define certainty for you. But depending on how you feel about your career path and your undergraduate major, it will put you somewhere on this grid. There are students who come to Texas Tech every year and they know they want to be a Red Raider, they know they want to go to college, but they're not sure about their major or their career, and there isn't home for them. The Explore Advising Office has wonderfully trained, expert exploratory advisors to help students make informed and decided decisions about their academic and career path, but that's not pre-professional health careers. Right? We work with students who are certain, at least, that they want to go into a career in the health professions. So if you're thinking about Texas Tech University and you're not 100% sure about either your career or your major, know that you have a home, and that is the Explore Advising Office. So check them out if that's something that you're interested in. But we are going to work with students who are at minimum exploring the health professions and thinking about a career in health professions. Some students will come to Texas Tech and they're going to decide on a degree granting major that oftentimes graduates in those majors go on to health professions. We think of those as like the traditional science fields like biology or biochemistry, nutrition, kinesiology, and they're maybe thinking about a career in health professions, but they're not sure. I want to encourage you to declare your major. The sooner students declare their major, the sooner they connect with their advisors, their faculty, their staff and their fellow classmates, and their support structures in those departments and colleges like scholarship systems. So if you know that you want to major in something, that you know that you want to finish a bachelor's degree in a specific discipline or field, and you know that, then declare it. We'll be here to help you consider and explore health professions. You don't have to be pre to see a PPHC advisor, and you don't have to be pre to explore health professions. Now, there are students who are sure about both, and we're going to be on their team. If you are certain that you want to major, say, in business, as you prepare to go to pharmacy school. Fantastic. Declare your major, and you will have a pre-health advisor in our office to work in secondary support of your primary advisor and make sure that those two fields are fitting together. Right? Students who are certain about both will always have a pre-health advisor in our office here at Texas Tech University. That means then the students who choose pre are the students who aren't sure about their undergraduate degree, if they even have to finish one. Remember, pre-nursing students can finish their prerequisites in 4 consecutive semesters and then apply to finish a bachelor's of science in nursing at a health sciences center school of nursing or one like it. So you don't have to finish a bachelor's degree in some cases. But for students who aren't sure about their major, but they are sure that they are going to go into a health professions field like medicine or pharmacy or occupational therapy or dentistry, then you can choose pre while you decide on your degree granting major. The reason that pre exists at Texas Tech University is to give you an advising home and a clear path as you make those decisions or as you apply to those 2+2 professional programs. So I'm going to briefly present the 10 pre-health designations that we have here at Texas Tech University, their unique characteristics, and some things you might want to consider about those designations as we learn about them. Our largest group of pre-health students here at Texas Tech University are in our pre-nursing designation. For the fall 2020 semester, we are anticipating that we'll have somewhere around 1,000 pre-nursing students. Half of them will be in their first year, half of them will be in their second year approaching the application process. And most of them are going to be in the pre-designation. Most of them are going to be applying after their 3rd semester. And most of them are going to be applying to the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center School of Nursing. That program has 3 application cycles, fall, spring, and summer. And we assist those students with making sure that they're taking the courses in the proper sequence to be candidates for that traditional Bachelor of Science in Nursing program at the Health Sciences Center. The Health Sciences Center School of Nursing also has locations in Lubbock and in Odessa, and we also encourage our students to consider their commitment to the nursing profession. While we love it when Red Raiders stay Red Raiders, we also love it when Red Raiders become healthcare professionals. So we'll help you apply to any health professions program, whether it's across the street or across the world. Even if we're not particularly friends with them on the football field, we'll help you be the very best applicant you can be as you approach the competitive admissions process. The pre-nursing designation has a pre-nursing association, but students at Texas Tech University can also be members of the Texas Nursing Student Network, TNSN, at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center School of Nursing. So you can see what it's like and interact with and get to know current nursing students and their faculty. Our pre-nursing students are often across the street at the Health Sciences Center School of Nursing, observing, shadowing, interacting, checking out tours of the sim lab. So pre-nursing students have a great opportunity to connect with their professional school here at Texas Tech University. Our next largest group is pre-med. We have somewhere just under 500 pre-med students in the pre-designation without a declared degree granting major. But we have another 300 to 400 in declared majors, students who have already declared a degree granting major and are working with their declared major advisor and their pre-med advisor here in PPHC to become a competitive and compelling applicant to the multiple medical schools that they will likely apply to. We have 3 different pre-med student organizations, each with their own approach and focus and emphasis, and so I'd encourage you to consider looking at them. Our next largest group is pre-physical therapy. We had just under 100 pre-physical therapy students in the designation without a declared degree granting major, but there's probably another 150 to 300 who are in declared degree granting majors here on campus. There's a pre-PT club, and one of the unique characteristics of pre-physical therapy is that most physical therapy schools will require a set number of observation or shadowing hours of a physical therapist to be eligible to apply. As a requirement for admissions, you must meet the minimum number of hours of observation or shadowing. We encourage all of our pre-health students to engage their professions to become a competitive and compelling applicant. And you can engage your profession through research, through observation, shadowing, volunteering, internships, working alongside, or talking with those healthcare professionals. But if you're considering PT school, you have to have a minimum number of observation and shadowing hours post high school graduation, and that's unique to physical therapy. Our 4th designation is pre-pharmacy. We again had just under 100 pre-pharmacy students in the designation who had not yet declared majors, probably another 150 to 200 in declared majors. Pharmacy technician certifications are a great way to engage professional field. Again, there's the early admissions model available for pharmacy schools, but ultimately, how you approach being a pre-pharmacy student, we're going to encourage you to identify and declare a degree granting major. Now, I'm going to pause here for just a moment and point out that most high school students who are thinking about a career in health professions are thinking about one of these four. In our office, we think of them as the big four. That means, statistically speaking, just on a sheer numbers sense, the professional schools in these disciplines are going to see larger numbers of applicants. That means their application process may be more competitive than other designations. That doesn't mean the other designations are the ones you should choose. It doesn't mean the other designations are easier to get into. They all have competitive admissions process. But nationally, when high school students are thinking about helping other people using scientific knowledge to lead healthy and whole lives, they're often thinking about one of these four disciplines. And so understanding how one can articulate their candidacy for and their competitive and compelling application for these disciplines is a big part of being pre in one of these four disciplines. As I mentioned, here at Texas Tech University, our speech language hearing sciences bachelor's degree is a 2+2 program, 2 years of prerequisites here on this campus, 2 years at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, School of Health Professions, speech language hearing sciences program. One of the benefits of that arrangement is students will go through a competitive admissions process midway through their bachelor's degree. That helps them prepare when they eventually apply to those graduate programs in speech language pathology, audiology, or communication disorders. And so there's that plus. Another plus is students who are finishing their Bachelor of Speech Language Hearing Sciences at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. They're doing it in the same facility with the same faculty and the same clinical access opportunities as those graduate and professional students in those master's and doctoral programs, which is a big plus as you prepare to be a candidate for those programs. Now, everyone's really excited about the fourth dental school being in the Texas Tech University system at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center in El Paso. But we've been preparing pre-dental students to apply to the 3 other dental schools in Texas, and often 2 or 3 dental schools in the region or the country for a long time now. So if you're pre-dental, you can come to Texas Tech, finish your bachelor's degree here, and then apply to dental schools across the state and country. And our pre-dental society does a fantastic job of matching its members with healthcare professionals, dental professionals in the Lubbock area, because there isn't a dental school in Lubbock. Our pre-dental students have fantastic opportunities to develop the kind of application that's most likely to get a yes, even though there isn't a dental school here in Lubbock. Physician assistant is a unique master's degree program that oftentimes folks don't fully understand but are interested in because it's time to career, its cost of education, and its flexibility in practice. If you're thinking about, you're curious about, you're considering becoming a physician assistant and you're not sure if it's medical school or PA school, or if it's nurse practitioner or PA, I would encourage you to find some working physician assistants, find some PAs to observe, shadow, and talk with. PA schools often see a very high number of applications, including folks who are applying to both both medical school and PA school. So if you're committed to PA school, you want to demonstrate that commitment through your application, and you want to make sure that they hear clearly that you understand what PA school is. But statistically speaking, their admissions processes can be just as or sometimes more competitive than medical school or nursing schools. So if you're thinking about PA, we encourage all of our students to engage that profession immediately, to talk with professionals in the field and develop an understanding of if it's the right one for you. Occupational therapy is another one of the designations, the pre-occupational therapy route. And we often talk with our physical therapy interested students about OT as well. Sometimes the therapeutic needs of patients, the idea of what it means to be a physical therapist for some students is more aligned with what occupational therapy looks like in the workplace. If you're interested in working with patients for their lifespan, if you're interested in potentially being in patients' homes, working with their family members, long-term therapeutic needs, whether it's injury, illness, or conditions, OT might be something to consider. So if you're thinking about PT, consider OT as well. Occupational therapy schools are currently undergoing a transition from master's level entry programs to entry level doctoral programs. Some of them might be calling themselves Doctorate of Occupational Therapy or DOT, and some of them might be using the OTD abbreviation. But all of that is something that your pre-health advisors here at PPHC are happy to help you navigate and sort through. As I mentioned earlier, Clinical Laboratory Sciences is a bachelor's degree program at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center that when you finish your 4-year college degree, you'll take a national licensure so that you can practice as a clinical laboratory scientist, doing diagnostic work on tissue and fluid samples, providing a lot of the diagnostic information to healthcare teams and physicians to treat patients. And so if you're interested in bachelor's degrees that are very healthcare oriented, and potentially more lab-based than patient care-based, I would consider clinical laboratory sciences, again, one of those 2+2 designations. And finally, we have pre-optometry. Now, there are 2 optometry schools in the state of Texas. Most pre-optometry students will gravitate to those undergraduate institutions that are connected with them at the University of Houston or the University Incarnate Word in San Antonio. But we have about 2 dozen pre-optometry students here at Texas Tech University who are preparing to apply to those 2 schools and a couple others around the state and country. So we help our pre-optometry students, and the Pre-Optometry Professional Society, or POPS, is a student organization that helps connect them with optometrists in the Lubbock area. These are our 10 pre-health designations. If you have other pre-health interests, we may not have a designation for it, but we can help you. If you're interested in chiropractic, perfusion, or other healthcare roles, we can help you prepare for those, taking the prerequisite courses and developing a competitive application for them. Now, a third significant way that being pre-health is different than the average or typical college student is the courses you'll be taking. Every semester, pre-health students are taking 1 or 2 prerequisite science or math courses that are frankly challenging courses. At most institutions, these prerequisite science and math courses are on their list of traditionally or historically difficult courses. And what that label means is that statistically speaking, students are more likely to withdraw from, make a D or an F in those courses than literally the college average. And this isn't something that I'm saying to scare you. I'm saying that's a reality of being pre-health. Most college students are not taking chemistry and biology, anatomy and physiology, organic chemistry, physics, calculus, statistics. Most students, when they have the freedom to choose in their core curriculum for math and science, are going to choose non-major sciences, like astronomy or horticulture, and you're not going to be taking those sciences. Every semester, as a pre-health student, you are going to be in a challenging set of courses, and they're different. Not only do most college students not take them, these aren't your typical or average college class. But that means you just do things different in those classes to be successful. Oftentimes, our pre-health students will run into their first ever academic difficulty in these courses, meaning high school wasn't all that hard, but these classes are. And they'll start thinking things about themselves in college and their path that just isn't right. They'll think things like, maybe I'm not smart enough to be at Texas Tech because this class is challenging, or maybe I'm not supposed to be a healthcare professional. Look, I've been in college long enough to know that it almost never comes down to how smart you are. If you're smart enough to be admitted to Texas Tech University, you're smart enough to be successful in these challenging courses. Usually what it comes down to is the choices that you make, whether you adapt, whether you change, whether you access resources or not. That's usually what makes the difference in these courses, or frankly, any college course that you find challenging. So you might go to tutoring or supplemental instruction. You might go meet with your instructor during office hours or the lab TA. You might form a study group with your classmates. You might have to do something different in these classes because these classes are different. There's not something wrong with you if they're challenging. There's something wrong with these courses. They're hard courses. But that's the reality of being pre-health. Every semester, you're going to be taking courses that frankly the average or a typical college student isn't taking. We've already discussed the major matters, but I'll say one more time that this decision, this question of what should I major in as I prepare for competitive admissions for my professional school, really comes down to you. I often say that these professional schools don't care about your major, they care about your qualification. So that puts you in the position to care, and it should matter to you. What major you choose should matter to you. You want to make sure you're making informed decisions about your major choices? Does it do the things you want it to do? Does it connect you with the kind of faculty you want to learn from? Does it offer or require the courses that you want to take in your junior and senior year especially? Um, does it give you options at graduation that include your professional school aspirations, but other possibilities when you graduate, so that you don't feel like you have only one option at graduation? All of these are things that pre-health students get to decide. I want you to think about the student who wants to become an accountant, or the student who wants to become a petroleum engineer. They know what they have to major in because there's a major in a one-to-one relationship with their intended career field. If you want to be an architect, you major in architecture. But pre-health students get to decide on their major. Yes, there are traditional science majors that many students who are pursuing careers in health professions and professional school entry will choose, but that doesn't mean you have to choose that. Statistically speaking, the majority of students who are the largest group of students who are admitted to medical school every year come from biology majors, but that doesn't mean that medical schools require biology majors. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide. And if you choose a traditional science major because it's the best major for you, fantastic. But if you choose, say, something that's more like a people-based major, psychology, sociology, human development, family studies, we're seeing that more and more often. And you can choose non-traditional majors too. There are art majors who are admitted to medical school. So you can go to these health profession schools from any academic path that you choose. And if you're not sure, you can spend the first year or year and a half deciding in your pre-designation while you take your prerequisite courses and work with a pre-health advisor. I want to point out that it's not just taking the classes, though. Being pre-health means that you're working on more than just courses. You're not just in a graduation plan or an academic path, you're preparing for a competitive admissions process. And what we have heard consistently from the folks who do admissions for these professional schools, the faculty and staff who interview and select students to be admitted to medical school and nursing school and PA school, what we hear is that the students who are most likely to get a yes, statistically have the best chances of being admitted, are students who are both competitive and compelling applicants. And the way that we advise here at Texas Tech University is around the elements of competitive and compelling. If you ask most people what makes a competitive and compelling applicant, they're usually going to start with your academic performance. Yes, your GPA matters. Yes, you have a decision to make about major, and you have to take the right classes. Yes, to be a competitive applicant, they're going to look at your academic performance, and they're going to consider your GPA when you apply. If the program you're applying to requires an entrance exam, like the MCAT for medical school or the DAT for dental school, they'll look at your exam scores too. That will make you a competitive applicant. But what makes somebody compelling is getting involved in community service, giving back through leadership and membership in campus organizations or other campus activities, and especially engaging your professional field. Most pre-health students who are applying to professional school know these 5 elements. Sometimes they think of them as check boxes. Did I do this? Yes or no. Did I do that? Yes or no. That's not how they consider them. There are lots of choices in each one of these areas: community service, campus involvement, and professional engagement. It's not just did you do it, yes or no, but how did you do it? And how does that inform your approach to becoming a future healthcare professional? But most students who are applying to professional school know these 5, and that's what they take with them into their professional or their competitive admissions process for professional school. But what we hear are that these other 10 elements is what really makes an applicant compelling. These other 10 elements, like leadership and critical thinking skills, ethical decision making, emotional intelligence, an understanding of your passion, and problem solving skills, these are things that they're looking for in application essays and interview questions. Applicants who demonstrate these elements, the full 15 elements of competitive and compelling, are much more likely to get a yes in the competitive admissions process, and this is how we advise. Every time you meet with a PPHC advisor, doesn't matter which designation or professional school you're pursuing, we're going to make sure that you are aware of these elements and that you're taking steps to develop an application profile that reflects these elements uniquely to you. It, as I've said, is not a checkbox process. They want to know what kind of person they're getting. They'll be able to see your grades and your exam scores if they're required. But the way that they know the kind of person that is applying, the type of future professional that they might be graduating into the workforce, comes through these other elements. And so your pre-professional health careers advisor will help you understand them and develop them as you approach competitive admissions. So folks will say, that sounds great, Ryan. How does that work for Texas Tech students? What are your acceptance rates? Well, generally speaking, Texas Tech students outperform state and national averages in the competitive admissions process. We have students who are admitted at rates higher than other institutions across the country, but ultimately, our successes in previous application cycles don't guarantee the next group of applicants anything. Every applicant to professional school stands on the merits of their own application. Yes, your opportunity to be the kind of applicant that we all want you to be is present here at Texas Tech University, but you have to meet that opportunity. You have to meet those expectations. We don't hand out special admissions tickets to these professional programs. You write your own ticket. Now, your pre-professional health careers advisor will be here to help you do those things, but ultimately, your acceptance rate will be unique to you, and that's what we focus on. Again, Texas Tech students outperform state and national average in most cases. Our 10-year trend data shows that we can be outperforming those averages from 3 to 8%, depending on the year and the discipline. But your acceptance rate is what we're focused on, about the choices you're making to increase your chances of getting a yes. So that's why we encourage our students to consider applying to multiple programs, essentially increasing the number of yeses that they could get. That's why we focus on being a competitive and compelling applicant, because students who meet those criteria tend to be accepted at rates as high as 70 to even 80%. That's still not 100%, but that is exceedingly higher than most national averages. Now, if you're not sure what you would do if you don't get in, your pre-professional health careers advisor is going to encourage you to consider the question of what you would do if you had to wait for your yes. As I mentioned earlier in this video, that takes pressure off of you. Our pre-health students are taking challenging prerequisite science and math classes. They're going through activities on campus in their community and their profession that typical or average college students don't do. Their lives are typically more busy and more challenging, and they've got enough stress as it is. Why add another layer of stress to your life by saying, I don't know what I would do if I don't get in? You can resolve that anxiety. That's just another barrier between you and the success that we all want you to have. So we encourage our students to come up with a plan and make sure that they know what their answer would be if they had to wait for their yes, if they had to go through the reapplication process. For some of our programs, reapplication is 3 to 4 months. But for some of them, that reapplication process is a full year. And knowing what you would do during that waiting period not only helps you then, but it also helps you now by taking that pressure off of you. All of our pre-health students, we also tell them to be preparing for the admissions process, to be preparing for their interview. Because if an interview is required for your professional school, they're not doing it just to meet folks. They're doing it to make a decision. And so the interview, preparing for the interview, doing mock interviews or practice interviews in advance of those is something that all pre-health students should be doing as they approach the competitive admissions process. Your first interview should not be at a professional school. It should be here on this campus at the Career Center with the preparation and assistance of your pre-health advisor. So yes, the admissions process is something unique to pre-health students. Being ready for it and preparing for it is one of the ways that being pre-health is different than the average or typical college student. So who is Pre-Professional Health Careers? Well, we have 5 full-time pre-health advisors, and this is all that we do. Advisors in other disciplines, say biology or nutrition, they're helping their students prepare for graduation and entry into a range of career options based on those majors. We are pre-health specialists. Our advisors are assigned to pre-health students based on student last name, and this is our focus. We are going to make sure that not only are you taking the right classes, but that you're also navigating the elements of competitive and compelling and developing an application profile that is unique to you, that shows professional school admissions folks why you, why that professional school, and why now. So our 5 full-time pre-health advisors are working to make sure that our students are best prepared for the competitive admissions process. And as I've mentioned, being a pre-health student is different than the typical or average college student. Being a pre-health advisor is different than the typical or average college advisor. We're helping you prepare not only for academic outcomes, but also career outcomes as well. And we do it in a lot more than just advising for courses. We teach seminar courses both in the fall semester, special sections of the Rater Ready course, but also in spring and summer. We have both online and in-person junior seminars that are about preparing to be a fantastic applicant and understanding the healthcare industry. We're always advising on the 4 goals: academic, campus, community, and profession. And our office provides scholarships. We host events like the annual school fair. We have a partnership with Residence and Housing and Residence Life in the Health Sciences Learning Community. We have a spring mentor partnership with the Health Sciences Center, where our students can be matched with Health Sciences Center students to see what it's really like to be a professional in professional school. And then we'll be there for the application process as well. As I mentioned, being a pre-health student is different, and being a pre-health advisor is different as well. And yes, Texas Tech University is home to multiple special admissions programs. The Undergraduate to Medical School Initiative, or UMSI, the Joint Admissions Medical Program, and the Early Acceptance Programs for the Honors College are all fantastic ways for pre-health students to get a guaranteed yes to a professional school program. But I want to point out that if these special admissions programs were full, these 3 for, say, medical school, the honors, early acceptance, the UMSI, and JAMP programs, if they were full, and every one of their students maintained their eligibility, and every one of them decided to enroll at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center School of Medicine, that would be somewhere between, say, 15 and 25 of the 180 seats at the Health Sciences Center School of Medicine. That means the vast majority of students who go to medical school or professional school of any kind do so through standard competitive admissions. And that's what our office specializes in. So if you're selected for a special admissions program, fantastic. There are wonderful programs and a great way to approach professional school. But if you're not, I want you to hear clearly that your chances of getting into professional school are the same as anyone else's. And your opportunity to become a competitive and compelling applicant at Texas Tech University is fantastic. That's what we're here for. So why should you be a pre-health student at Texas Tech University? Well, if it hasn't been clear through this video, we have fantastic partners at the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, a separate institution under the Texas Tech University System umbrella just across the street from our main campus here. They are often on our campus. Our students are often on their campus. They are fantastic partners for our pre-health students and helping them become competitive and compelling applicants for their programs. And so our pre-health students benefit from the proximity and partnership of the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. Their faculty and staff are a great way to help influence and develop pre-health students as they approach competitive admissions process, whether it's for those programs or others like them. If it also hasn't been made clear, the Texas Tech University faculty are a fantastic faculty for developing pre-health students. I think one of the biggest strengths of our faculty is being rated by the Carnegie Foundation as highest level research. What that means is an independent third party has evaluated our faculty as consistent with the faculty of any other institution in the country. And I don't know if you've priced the other tier 1 institutions in the state of Texas. And I'm not saying college is cheap at all, but comparatively, for the quality of instruction at this institution to the instruction at any other institution price-wise, Texas Tech University is a fantastic value for pre-health students. Your health profession's goals and dreams shouldn't be bankrupted by the cost of your undergraduate education. So I would encourage you to consider the quality of instruction at Texas Tech University from the Texas Tech University faculty compared to the cost of attendance at other schools. Now, we're doing everything we can to make a difference in the lives and outcomes for our students, but this really is about finding your fit. If you haven't had the chance to visit campus or check us out more in full, I would encourage you to do that. If you aren't sure if Texas Tech is the place to be the most successful and competitive and compelling version of yourself for professional school admissions, I would encourage you to answer that question, whether it's visiting campus or doing more online research, reaching out, emailing, calling, talking with us over the phone. We'd be happy to work with you to help decide if Texas Tech is the right place for you. We think it is, and we know that the opportunity for pre-health students to be competitive and compelling applicants is rich here in Lubbock, Texas, at Texas Tech University. Again, my name is Ryan Shekel. I'm Assistant Director for Pre-Professional Health Careers.